If you want to know where to send your loved one if they have an acquired brain injury and they have a tracheostomy and are being discharged from hospital or from ICU, stay tuned. I've got news for you. My name is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com. And today I have a question that I think needs to be answered here. Where to go next if your loved one is being discharged from hospital or from ICU with a tracheostomy, they're not being ventilated, and how is it going to be safe, evidence-based, and where you can maximize the quality of life for your loved one. So here is why I want to discuss this topic today. So with intensive care at home, we have lots of inquiries from patients with a tracheostomy or from families who have a loved one with a tracheostomy where the patients unfortunately can't make the inquiry themselves. But here was the situation in the last few weeks where we found ourselves in, where we were asked to go to a place to change a catheter for a patient. That is all part of our skill set, of course. And it turns out that we went into an NDIS facility, like a SEAL and an SDA facility, for a catheter change. And it turns out that the patient that was there also happened to have a tracheostomy. And we were quite shocked that that was the case. And when we were sort of digging a little bit deeper, it turns out that the patient has no 24-hour care. It's basically left alone in a room with an acquired brain injury and a tracheostomy, and tracheostomy could block any given time. Worse, there is no critical care nurse available on that side at all. That means that patient is at risk of dying at any given time, right? And we know from experience and from being out there in the field that whenever there's adults and children out there in the community with tracheostomies that don't have critical care nurses 24 hours a day, that they're at high risk of dying. Now, it turns out also that the NDIS has very little checks and balances, making sure that the right care is being put in place, and more importantly, evidence-based care is being put in place. So let's just take an example where, a hypothetical example where you are in a hospital and you're watching this and you think, oh, I need to go home with a tracheostomy and I need to be safe. Or you're watching this and you have a family member that needs to go home from a hospital or from an ICU or from a rehab facility with a tracheostomy, and you're wondering what is the best level of care here, especially when it comes to brain injuries where clients can't manage their airways themselves whatsoever, and most clients, quite frankly, can't and shouldn't. It is the skill of a critical care nurse, including in the community, and that is actually evidence-based. When you look on our website at intensivecareathome.com, there's a section, the mechanical home ventilation guidelines, that are evidence-based. And the evidence-based mechanical home ventilation guidelines are a result of over 25 years of intensive care at home nursing in Germany and over 12 years of intensive care at home nursing in Australia. And clearly, whenever there's no critical care nurses 24 hours a day for tracheostomy clients, and I'm not even talking about ventilation, I'm just talking tracheostomy, clients are at risk of going back to hospitals, they're at risk of medical emergencies, and they're at risk of dying. And unfortunately, we have seen it over and over again, where we, as a provider, for example, were only funded for day shifts or for night shifts, and then clients have passed away on the opposite shifts whenever there was no critical care nurse present. Please keep in mind, in a hospital, a tracheostomy patient always has a critical care nurse with them. Why should that be different in the community? We have to maintain standards in the community, and that is what intensive care at home is all about. We have to maintain standards in the community, and that is what we do at intensive care at home, right? But it's also coming down to the advocacy through the NDIS or any other funding bodies for that matter, right? And that is what we are very well versed in. We wouldn't be in business if we couldn't successfully advocate for our clients and their families, because that is what we have done from day one. We had to advocate successfully for our clients, otherwise we would not be in business. So how does it all work for an NDIS participant, but also for other participants through other funding bodies, whether that's a TAC in Victoria, whether it's ICARE in New South Wales, whether it's NIISQ in Queensland, whether it's through the DVA, whether it's through private health funds. It's always about having a doctor's letter with a request for 24-hour specialist nursing care. It's about nursing assessment with a request of 24-hour nursing care. And it's about an OT assessment, a functional capacity assessment. It's also about a physiotherapy assessment and potentially a speech therapy assessment. And then the funding will follow because the NDIS legislation actually, is there actually to protect NDIS participants. The NDIS legislation is actually not out there to harm participants. It's actually also something that I've only learned in the last few months. But we are learning as we're going, and that is the bottom line. So you shouldn't be scared about advocating because we can help you, and NDIS legislation is actually supporting you. Now, if you're not with an NDIS participant or your family member is not an NDIS participant, then we also would like to hear from you because then we can get in contact with other funding bodies and help you with the advocacy. Once again, this is something that we've done successfully over and over again. And also if you or your loved one goes into an NDIS SEAL or SDA facility, we can send our nurses there, which is what we're doing for some clients, that we're sending our nurses into an SCA or a SEAL facility. We are really working location independent, which is also something that is important for you to understand, that everything that we do is location independent and we can help you irregardless. Now, and also, once the funding is in place, we help you with selecting the right team. We help you with, selecting the right equipment. That is all part of what we do on a day-by-day basis. But what I want to say to you here is, do not leave getting help too late, because we have seen many, many patients die over the years unnecessarily if they had only come to us early enough in their journey, and if they had only also listened to our advice, right? Because there are not many experts out there in the community that know about tracheostomy and ventilation. It's a very specialized skill, and I would like to encourage you to look for other content out there about ventilation and tracheostomy in the community in Australia, but also in other countries. There's not much out there because people don't know anything about it, because it is a uniquely and highly specialized skill. And we have built so much intellectual property for intensive care at home. That is why I can talk about it here all day long, because that's what we live and breathe here at Intensive Care at Home. So with Intensive Care at Home, we are currently operating all around Australia, in all major capital cities, as well as in all regional and rural areas. And we're sending our critical care nurses into the home 24 hours a day. Therefore, we are providing a genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care for ventilation and tracheostomy for adults and children. We're also providing intensive care at home for home BiPAP, home CPAP, ventilation without tracheostomy. And for today's topic, we're providing 24-hour critical care nurses for tracheostomy without ventilation, home TPN, home IV potassium infusions, home IV magnesium infusions, as well as PICC line management, central line management, Hickman's line management, as well as porta cath management at home. We're also providing ventilation weaning at home. We're also providing nasogastric tube management and PEC tube management at home, as well as palliative care services at home. We're also sending our critical care nurses into the home for emergency department bypass services. We have done so successfully as part of the Western Sydney Local Area Health District, their In Touch program, saving approximately $2,000 per patient that we keep at home instead of going to an emergency department. We're also cutting the cost of an intensive care bed by around 50%. The intensive care bed costs around $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day. Our service costs around 50% of that, $2,500 to $3,000 per bed day. And we're freeing up the most sought after bed in the hospital, which is the ICU bed. Most importantly, we're improving the quality of life for patients and their families. So it's a win-win situation for everyone, for all stakeholders. Now, we are an NDIS approved service provider all around Australia, TAC and WorkSafe in Victoria, ICARE New South Wales, and IISQ in Queensland, as well as the Department of Veteran Affairs all around Australia. Our clients and we as a provider have also received funding through public hospitals, private health funds, as well as departments of health. We are the only service provider in Australia that has achieved third-party accreditation for intensive care at home nursing in 2025. We have been achieving this high level of accreditation since 2012, and no other provider has achieved this high level of accreditation in the community in Australia. and has created more intellectual property for intensive care at home nursing than we have. That puts us in a privileged position to employ hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined in the community. No other service provider in 2025 employs a higher skill level in the community than we do, which enables us to look after the highest acuity adults and children in the community in Australia safely. And if you're at home already and you're watching this and you realize that you don't have the right level of support, or you are stuck in an ICU and you're watching this, or you have a family member stuck in ICU, I'll give you a very tangible example today. One of our first clients over 10 years ago was a client who was at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy with the support worker model 24/7. Of course, support workers cannot look after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. That is like flying the airplane with a cabin crew instead of the pilot, because anyone on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is a very high risk of medical emergencies or dying if they don't have critical care nurses at home looking after them 24/7, as is evidence-based and is documented in the mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can find on our website at intensivecarehome.com. Eventually, this client found out about us, and also the hospital and the ICU that the client was in found out about us, and we were able to prove our concept intensive care at home with this client within weeks. When we worked with the client, we sent him intensive care nurses 24 hours a day, and he never ever went back into ICU ever again. And we were proving our concept there very fast. We can do the same for you if you're not safe at home, which includes the advocacy for funding that goes along with it. We have always successfully advocated for our clients. Otherwise, we would not be in business. This is also why we are providing level 2 and level 3 NDI support coordination. We have a team of NDI support coordinators, and they have a wealth of knowledge. Done an interview with Amanda Richards, one of our NDI support coordinators, and we'll put a link to an interview with Amanda in the written version of this blog. We're also providing TAC case management, WorkSafe case management in Victoria with Lucy McCodder. If you are an NDI support coordinator or a case manager from another organization watching this, and you're looking for nursing care for your participants, please reach out to us as well. If you're looking for funding for nursing care for your participants and you don't know how to go about it and what evidence to provide, I encourage you to reach out to us as well. We can help you with the right level of funding and with the right level of advocacy. We're also providing NDI specialist nursing assessments done by critical care nurses with a legal nurse consulting background. And if you're a critical care nurse and you're looking for a career change and you want to join a very progressive, dynamic, high-performing team of critical care nurses in the community, we're employing hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined, and you can join our high-performing team. If you're looking for a career change, we're currently hiring for jobs for critical care nurses in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, in Albury, Wodonga, in Bendigo, in Geelong, and in Warragul in Victoria. If you have worked in critical care nursing for a minimum of 2 years, pediatric ICU, ED, and you have already completed a postgraduate critical care nursing qualification, we will be delighted to hear from you. I have a disclaimer though, because we are offering a tailor-made solution for our clients, which includes regular staff. Our clients do want the same staff coming over and over again because our clients are so vulnerable and so special. And that's why we need regular staff. If you're looking for agency work where you can come and go, this will not be the right fit for you. We are looking for consistency and our clients are looking for consistency. So please only apply with us if you can give us regular and consistent availability for shifts and you're really keen on building relationships with us and with our clients. And if you're an intensive care specialist or an ED specialist, we also want to hear from you. We're currently expanding our medical team as well. We can also help you eliminate your bed blocks in your ICU and ED for your long-term patients or for your regularly readmitting patients with our critical care nursing team at home. We're here to help you take the pressure off your ICU and ED beds, and in most cases, you won't even pay for it. And even if you do pay for it, it's much more cost-effective than what you're paying in ICU and ED for. If you're a hospital executive watching this and you have bed blocks in your ICU, ED, respiratory wards, please reach out to us as well. We can help you there very fast. And if you're in the US or in the UK and you're watching this and you need help, we want to hear from you as well. We can help you there privately with private nurses and with one-on-one consulting. Once again, our website is intensivecareathome.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website or simply send us an email to info@intensivecareathome.com. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families with intensive care at home and intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell, share this video with your friends and families, and leave your comments below what you want to see next, what you think about today's topic, and what insights that you have from today's video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrick Hotzel from intensivecareathome.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.